and award-winning wildlife photographer, has an understated presence and power in her work. She's currently a member of the Google Plus Photos team as a product specialist, coordinating education products, social, media, and continues teaching the webinars on landscape and wildlife photography that she became known for previously at Nix Software. When she's not at work, she's out photographing nature and animals, her happy place. Having started out in graphic design, Laurie now lives and breathes photography. She recently won the Windland Smith Rice International Award, and her image of Monroe the baby gorilla will be on display at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. for the next year. Laurie brings heart, soul, and a deep love of nature to her world, and I'm so happy she could make time for us today on The Chat. Hey everybody, it's Karen Hutton. Welcome to The Chat with Karen Hutton. Sound bite-sized insights from some of the coolest people on the planet, and I kid you not. Which means one of them's here today, Laurie Rubin. Hi, Laurie.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm great. I'm fabulous. Just fabulous, darling. For those of you who don't know Laurie, she is the product specialist on the Google Plus Photos team. What the heck is that? Explain yourself, woman.
Okay, I'll explain myself. Can I do a little background first?
Yes,
I'll start
please.
with Nix Software.
Yep.
So I worked for Nix Software for almost 8 years as the product education manager. And just as of November, I got moved up to San Francisco to be at the Mountain View headquarters for Google. And so now we've transitioned over to Google, and I'm a product specialist here. So what that means is that I'm all about education still with Nix Software, but I'm also involved on the Google Plus Photos team, which means anything to do with photography. It's awesome. I mean, I love photography, so I'm in my happy place here. Just brilliant, brilliant people that I'm surrounded with, and it's just so much fun. I love it.
Yeah, that was my next question, is if you're enjoying it and feeling like you're contributing. And there's just nothing like working with a group of people who are just in love with the same thing you are and creating great stuff for other people who love what you do.
Absolutely. And one of the favorite things besides going out and photographing is meeting wonderful photographers. Mm-hmm. So part of my job is to outreach to some of the influencers. We have a new photography talk series here at Google that we started.
I love that.
And and also Hangouts on Air that I'm very much involved with. In fact, Karen, you were my first guest. Remember that?
I sure do.
I called her and I knew, Karen, I've always loved your work, but I hadn't really met her before, and I called her up. I said, Karen, I know that you've done Hangouts before. Can you help me get started here? And she was just a gem, and ever since we've been like, best buddies, so it's been awesome.
Yeah, that was like two sisters meeting. They just separated at birth or something. It's really
I think so. Yeah. Now we're inseparable.
Yeah, I know it's kind of obnoxious, but well, that was part of my question was to talk a little bit about how much you love, what you do and the contribution. And I had another question about that, which has to do with, I'm trying to state this delicately. We are aging like fine wine. We get better as fine wine does, but our perspective changes in life, and the kinds of things that we want to be spending our energies on and our creativity on and contributing. The contribution part of it becomes, it seems to be with a lot of people, becomes more important. And I just wondered, just for a second, because I want to show your photos here next, but I just wondered for a second how that feels in this new position, that the contribution that you can make to this industry that is changed so much in the last couple of years and just continues to explode.
It's really exciting. At Nick, we had a certain amount of resources, of course, but coming here to Google, the resources are basically unlimited. And so I know for me personally, and for the goals of many people here on the photos team, is to get photography into the hands of everybody. The ability to be able to enhance your images, to making them the best that they can possibly be, and to be able to share with the world, where you live, what you see. It's just so exciting. This time right now, there's so many things that are going to be coming up. I can't share exactly what, but this is a very, very exciting time. And I just feel so blessed to be here at this time. And I just can't wait to share it with everybody. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, I have no knowledge of what's going on behind the scenes. But I can sense the excitement of everyone that I know that works there, and it's just, by osmosis, we're all just kind of like going, "Oh, this is really cool."
Yeah, it's all good.
But you don't just work for Google. You have been a photographer for your whole life, right?
I actually, I was a graphic designer. I got into web design, and I went to San Diego State actually for a degree there. And then I've always had a camera around my neck, whether it was film, SLR, and then when digital came out, I was very excited about that because it's instant gratification, and I'm all about that, right? So, but I would go to horse shows. That's where I really started. I'd go to horse shows, and I'd have a SLR on one shoulder and a little point and shoot on the other, and I would go out shooting and practicing. That's where I started. Horses, Karen.
Yeah,
right?
ditto.
And yep, ditto. And then, I have a love for animals, and it's probably because I've grown up with animals all my life. I've had horses, I had dogs, cats, you name it. They've just been a part of my life, and I discovered that going to zoos gave me an opportunity to spend some time, quiet time, away from work. I can focus in on these beautiful creatures. I started making connections, as weird as it sounds, but some of these animals started to actually recognize me.
I've seen you in action. That does not sound weird. It's amazing how you just go, phoom.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what it is, but I love spending time with them. And having a camera in front of me lets me focus on what's happening before me. So I live for moments, for these behavioral things that happen, particularly between, babies and moms. That's awesome. But between interactions between two animals, and even just, an animal by itself, when it makes eye contact with you, there's something very primal about it. I can't explain it, but I hope to be able to share it in my images. So I love sharing those moments with people that might not be able to get to, let's say, the San Diego Safari Park, or to Africa, or to Alaska. And I hope to go to many other places as well.
Well, I think that is like the perfect entree to actually share these images. They are stunning. She sent them to me yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, I hadn't seen some of these.
Okay, do you see this one here?
I sure do.
Okay, so this was a trip to Africa. I first started out in Amboseli with my good friend Piper McKay, and we shot elephants in dust, and it was quite magical. And then we met up with Andy Biggs over in Kenya. And this is just one example of what I like to capture. This was actually, it was a litter of jackal pups. We came around the corner in our Jeep, and there were about 8 of them, and a bunch of them went down into the hole when they saw us, but these 2 stayed out, and they just kind of cuddled together with each other. I got some eye contact. I love that. And when I clicked this, I thought, oh, this is great. You just feel it. It's kind of an adrenaline rush when you capture that.
Yep.
And so that's one of my images there that I love. Here's an example. See the giraffe there?
Oh my God, this just slays me.
Okay, well, Karen, I should show you the before. This was actually at the San Diego Zoo, and I love this moment, but there are a bunch of fences and things behind it. This is often a very big challenge at zoos, which I like to challenge myself. And so I use programs like Vivesa too to get, just really tone down the background, and I kept that behavioral moment there. It was a young giraffe, and this adolescent just kind of put his head down on him, and I like to call it Welcome to the World.
So you actually well, it isn't black, but I mean,
I didn't actually, it's funny, I didn't have to mask it. If you get it just right, you can use Vivesa 2 and turn down the brightness. Use it a couple times, and you can actually, it masks really nice with control points, because control points are like magic, by the way. If anybody has not used them before, check out some of our webinars. Go to www.nicksoftware.com, look under lessons, and check out some of the webinars. I've got some nature lessons there as well, webinars.
That was how I started learning processing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Way back then. Yeah, I went and took all those free webinars you guys have on that website. I learned a whole bunch of stuff.
That's awesome. Good.
Best free education I ever had.
There you go. And then the next one, this one I call A Long Way to Grow.
Oh.
And things that I look for in nature or anything, I like to see things that are opposite. This, for instance, was one of the first times I actually saw a baby flamingo, and I was just floored by the differences between the two. The little flamingos are these little balls of fluff. They're absolutely adorable. Short little stubby legs. They're not graceful. They're very clumsy. And then you've got these elegant parents with, the nice pink and the graceful necks. And so I call this A Long Way to Grow. And
how did you get, I have a question about this. How did you get that, that is like a style of painting that I've always loved. I don't know what to call it, but
Okay.
it has a very distinctive look. How did you get that?
I got that by using Color Effects, the Midnight filter. And there's a
Really?
trick that you can use. You use Midnight, so it kind of makes a nice glowy, moody, dark effect.
Uh-huh.
You take it into Photoshop using the brush feature, and then with the graduated brush, you can actually just kind of have the stream of light coming down. So I actually show that in one of my webinars. But
Oh, how neat. Okay.
yeah, I love to be able to direct light. Yeah. But again, there's a baby. And then,
love.
Karen, I know you have pelicans, and I can't wait to see your pelicans. So I thought I'd throw that in there.
I know, and I thought, oh, I haven't tried processing mine like that. And I'm like,
Yeah, this is called a bad hair day, but I love pelicans. I love all birds. I love all mammals, insects, except for ticks. I don't like ticks, but other than that,
when we go places where there's animals, it's like, hi, Laurie. Oh, Laurie's gone now.
I know, it's true. Everybody's shooting landscapes and like, oh my gosh, there's a crab.
I know, I love it.
Yeah. This is a picture of Amboseli, the elephants, and this is a dust devil in the background, and is actually one of those magical moments. When I went there, I told my friend Piper, I said, I want to get a dust devil in the background with the elephants, and it happened. So, it's that positive thinking, you put out that positive energy, and hopefully something good will come out of it. But I love watching the elephants. They're just one of my most fabulous. I love them so much. I can't explain, but their behavior and how they interact with one another is just so.
They have a very, very highly defined social structure. I mean, even in this photo, they've placed the baby in the middle.
Yep.
And grouped around. I mean, that's a very specifically ordered. They're marching. I mean, that's very on purpose what they're doing.
Very much so, and you see that all the time. They're very protective, very loving towards one another, and it's really heartfelt to be able to be amongst these wild creatures, and they'll walk right by you. It's just amazing.
Well, you have also won awards. The most recent one, you're actually going to Washington to speak at the Smithsonian because one of your photos is going to hang there for the next year at the Smithsonian.
I know. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Well, it was Nature's Best that my favorite magazine is put out every year. And I've gotten an honorary mention before with the panda shot for the zoos and aquarium section. And this year I got for zoos and aquariums as well. But this time, first place. I'll show you this one. And it's this shot here. And I'll just give you some quick background on it. What happened was Monroe, this little gorilla here, is at the safari park, and I would visit him almost every weekend. Just totally entertaining, if not anything. Even if I wasn't taking pictures, I'd probably just visit him. But it was an enrichment day. The zoo put out bags of popcorn. They put out magazines and, fun things for the gorillas to entertain themselves with. But on that day, there was a group of kids, lots of kids. And I thought, okay, it's a bright day. There's lots of tourists here. I can't really get in the right position. Maybe I should leave. But there's this little voice in the back of my head that said, no, stay.
Yeah.
And Karen, I know you probably have heard that many times. I've heard it.
Always listen to that voice.
Always listen. Or if it says turn around, just listen to it.
Yeah.
So I stayed. The group dispersed. They went away. And I was set up so that when she picked up this magazine, she's looking at a picture of her baby who's sitting right next to her. So it's just one of those moments. It happens. I don't know, God-given moments. I don't know what to call them, but they happen so often that
moments of grace. I call them moments of grace.
I love that. Love that. Moments of grace. Yeah, and it happens so much now. I just kind of come to expect it. So that's that.
See,
picture.
And my mother always said, if you have an expectation, it will be met, positive or otherwise. So
that's right.
Best to keep positive expectations because you're going to create it anyway.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll show you one last picture. This is a black and white, again in Amboseli, a running giraffe. There were some lions off to the side, but you can become very creative. Your pictures don't have to look like snapshots. They can be a vision of what you see. And so post-processing to me is as entertaining and as fun as going out on the field because I get to relive the moments and I get to make them my own. So just a little word of advice. You got to have fun. When you're out there, enjoy yourself, get in the moment. And then when you're back in your digital darkroom, have fun with it too. Be playful, and then you will come out in your image.
Yep. What else do we have except what we have to bring to the moment?
Right.
I mean, then there are journalists, who they want to be true to the moment, and it's got to be exactly as it was, and that is an art in and of itself.
Right.
So what we're talking about here is, sharing our own experience of these moments, which is really fun.
It is definitely.
So in the couple of minutes that we have left, I have a couple Random questions. I love
Oh
this
boy.
part of the show. Looking back, Laurie Rubin, what has surprised you the most in your life?
Boy, there's so many surprises. I think some of the biggest surprises is, I got to think about this for a minute because there's so many, how much I love what I do. I think the biggest surprise is how I can get so lost into this photography world. And I just love it so much. I can't explain it. It has become such a part of my life, and to be able to share it and to meet such wonderful people like you, Karen, has just been overwhelming to me. And that is probably one of the biggest surprises, is just how much I love it and enjoy it.
What do you wish you could do over?
Oh boy, I wish that I started this earlier. I wish that when I was younger, I was, thinking I'd be an artist in some capacity, but I didn't realize that photography was my niche. And so I wish I'd started it earlier, taken more trips. I guess it's never too late, right, Karen?
It's never too late.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
Ever. Did you hear me?
I heard you. I hear you, sister.
What art form besides your own do you admire the most?
Oh, gosh. Well, I'll tell you. We have a guest coming to the photography talk this Friday. It's one of my heroes, who is Art Wolf. And so he's inspired me since his Travels to the Edge, series on PBS that I watched years ago. But he's very inspiring to me. There's so many photographers, so I have a huge list. And I think I take away from everybody. When I'm on Google Plus, for instance, and I'm looking through images that people are sharing, I see part of their souls in there, and I kind of take a little bit of that. So I'm influenced by everybody that I meet and see.
Final question. I don't want to use the word advice, what insight would you share with a young woman looking at you going, I want to be her, I want to do what she does? What would you tell her?
Follow your passion and follow your dreams, and don't let anybody stop you from doing it. Just do it. If you love to go out and photograph landscapes, get out there. Make it a priority. It can't be something that you say, oh, I'll do later. Just make it happen. If you're working full time, get out on the weekends, and that's what I do. That's my time to go out and shoot. But do what you love, and do it as much as you can, and you'll get better at it, and something will come.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Words from a very wise woman. And so that's it. That's it for today. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And Laurie Rubin, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thanks,
You're
Karen.
fantastic.
You are too. Thank you.